Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the final session of the Ibug Mac training course, or rather the final class session, but second to last complete class session. Today is November 16th, 2021. And welcome, everyone. We will be concluding with mail and going over any other questions about any other apps you may have. But first, I'll just remind you, we have several Ibug events this week. Tomorrow, we have two awesome events, one led by our very own Herbie Allen, Twitter master and facilitator of the Ibug Mac Buzz. There we go. I had to think of that for a minute. And that is from 5 to 7 p.m. on Clubhouse. Following that, we have our Ibug Android Insight on Zoom from 7 to 8:30. All of these are Central Time. And the Android Insight is not only a great place to ask about those Android phones, but also those wonderful Amazon devices. All right, on Thursday, we have Trekkie Talk from 8 to 9. And Friday, we have Ibug Night at the Virtual Movies, beginning at 7:30 with the pre-movie social, the movie at 8. And this week we'll be watching Witness. On Saturday, we have Ibug Apple Workshop from 2 to 4 p.m. Okay, so that is everything. As always, just check with our website, ibugtoday.org, our Facebook, facebook.com/groups/ibugtoday, and Twitter @ibugtoday for all of the latest. Oh yes, that's right. And Thursday we have It's Ibug's Life, and that's about cooking a turkey and other Thanksgiving things. So anyway, with that out of the way, we're going to now go into questions, and this week Herbie is going to pick the questions for you to answer. So take it away, Herbie.
Alrighty, so we're going to start with an easy one. How do you open and read a message? What command do you use to close the message when finished reading?
Okay, people should be able to unmute. Let's see.
Oh.
Yes, Judy, go
I am
ahead.
more than happy to start picking on people too if we don't get
Okay.
random answers.
What was the question again? I know I knew it.
The question is the question is this. How do you open and read a message? What command do you use to close the message when done reading?
Okay. To open it, you hit enter. And to close it, you do Command W.
Ding, ding, ding. Yay. All right.
How do you read individual messages in a thread?
Donna.
Yes, Donna.
So you right arrow to expand the thread and then down arrow to read your messages. Left arrow to collapse it again.
Excellent. Yep.
How do you show or hide the mailboxes list? What other mail components can be shown or hidden?
Sorry,
Donna.
Go ahead, Donna.
I believe it's Command Shift M.
Yeah, I want to say that used to work. Basically you go in the view menu and it's called show sidebar, and you would just go, and I think that's, now I'm forgetting the command, but Command Option S or Command Control S. The important thing is you know that it's in the view menu, and so you can find it and show it or hide it that way. All right, good job.
You can hide
And
your favorites and hide the toolbar.
Command
Yes.
Shift M just gives me show mailbox list on my computer.
Okay.
How do you navigate between the messages and mailbox lists?
Well, if you collapse, this is Judy.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, Judy.
So if you collapsed it, the little up and down thingy, yeah, then you would just right arrow to go from your mailboxes over to your messages. And
Okay. Oh, what?
is that right? Yeah.
So I was actually thinking of you can VO right twice. So VO right from your mailboxes table to your messages, or VO left twice from your messages to your mailboxes table. Or you can VO J. That also works. As I accidentally knocked my headphones off. So yeah, does that make sense? I can go over that again if that would be helpful.
No, I think I get it because you're jumping over the one of
Yeah.
those bars.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so I've noticed so far we've only had Judy and Donna answer questions, but I know the rest of you are out there. So how about you gals get to take a break and let's let some other people have a chance? What happens when the area after the message list is not collapsed?
Cliff and I were having a conversation about this earlier. Should I
What
go
was the
ahead and give them?
question? I stepped away.
Well, okay.
What happens when the and what happens when the area after message is not collapsed?
After the messages list is what it should say, right?
It says yes.
Okay.
After the message list, yes.
If it's not collapsed. Oh, you're going to see a preview of your thread or your message, whatever you stopped or whatever you VO righted arrowed away from.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be your messages are automatically going to be marked as red. That's what I
Oh,
was
yeah.
looking for, but that's
Oh, okay.
but what you said is true too. So we're good.
I mean, but it's essentially the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Is that all
I
the
guess
question? Because
so.
I got a question for Herbie that relates to mail, actually.
Okay.
All right.
Herbie, what is the keyboard command for adding the sender to contacts?
Ooh, that is a good question and something I must admit I don't know the answer to, and I've wondered that myself. Isn't it like
It's in there. You if you go into I just forget what it is because I don't generally I'm not good at adding people to contacts,
Actually,
but
I don't know if it was Mojave or no, I'm sorry, I keep on saying Mojave. If it was Catalina or Big Sur, it used to be Command Y, but for whatever reason, it's not no longer in the Apple menu or the, when you do VOM and go to the menu,
message. Oh, okay.
it's no longer there. I had to create a custom one, which I mean, if somebody wants to, I'll be in the cafe, or I said cafe. I'll be in the club this week, and I'll tell people how to do it. But it's really pretty easy. But it's no
Yeah.
longer Command Y. It's no longer listed in there as Command Y. So
Okay. Oh, it's no longer listed with the shortcut. Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Okay.
okay? What name some of the actions you can perform on or for a message? What are some ways to access those options? Shri, you've been silent, and Elvia, Daryl.
Well,
This is Shri.
yeah, go ahead, Shri.
I'm trying to figure out. So you're asking like the shortcuts like for forwarding an email, or I wasn't really sure about the question.
Yeah, that would be that would be an action you could do for a message. Forward it, reply, delete, move it, mark it as read or unread, and there was a couple ways you could find those. actions.
So I'm horrible with keyboard shortcuts. I just go
That's
down
okay.
to the toolbar and then I go to the forward reply all.
Well, that answers the second part of the question, I would say.
Yeah, another way is to go into your context menu with VO Shift M. When you're on a message, it's in focus, or from, in the message or in the mailbox list, you can go into the messages menu in the menu bar and find those things that way. So, yep, lots of ways to do the same thing.
All right, so let's see. We actually don't have too many questions in here, but what does VoiceOver do when using column layout in the view menu as unchecked?
Oh.
I'll repeat that again. What does VoiceOver do when using column layout in the view menu? When column layout in the view menu is unchecked? Yeah, so what does VoiceOver do when use column layout? I'm sorry, that's why I'm getting mixed up here.
You
What
sure
does
you want
VoiceOver
to be
do?
the one to read the questions?
What does VoiceOver do when use column layout is unchecked in the view menu? This is kind of a very essential part of knowing how to navigate your mail and how it works, because it's going to drastically change your message layout, whether it's checked or unchecked. And we talked about this before class.
This is tree.
Yep.
So is it the preview?
Yes. So when it is unchecked, you actually do hear a message preview. Regardless of whether your splitter is collapsed or expanded, if it is checked, you do not hear the preview and you can move around in the message table by column. So that's basically what we talked about. Did I miss anything, Herbie?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, were you about to ask something else?
I do have more questions, or are we moving on to the last? Are we moving
We can
on?
move on.
All right.
All right. So thanks, everyone. And I thought I would finish up tonight. I know all of you have accounts added to Mail, maybe that you already set up from before or whatever, but we'll talk about how to add an account, how to remove an account, and go through a few of the Mail preferences like signatures and just some of the other things in the Mail preferences. So let's see.
You have started computer audio share.
All
You are
right,
sharing
so I'm going to open, oh yes, and then I also forgot one thing to show you in Mail, dealing with previous recipients. So to add a Mail account, you can actually go to Mail Preferences and then Accounts, or you can go to System Preferences and Internet Accounts. To remove the Mail account, though, you have to do that in System Preferences. If you attempt to remove it in Mail and Accounts, it will tell you that it is shared by iCloud Keychain, and so it will direct you to open System Preferences. But let's just first of all talk about how to add an account. I'm going to open my Mail app.
Doc. Finder. Open. 1 of 25. Mail. Zoom us. System dialog. Your mail. Inbox. Chanel 170 messages. 8 unread.
And I'm going to open Mail Preferences. As always, we open Preferences with Command, comma.
Preferences. Composing. Window.
Okay, it's on the last preference area that I was viewing, so I'm going to go to my toolbar. Interact.
In toolbar.
And VO left to Accounts.
Viewing button. Fonts and junk mail. Accounts button.
VO space.
Account selected.
Uninteract.
Out of toolbar.
And VO right.
Internet accounts table. Chanel
So
IMAP.
this
Selected.
table shows all the accounts I've actually added to mail.
Herbie Chanel 98 900 iCloud at 900 iCloud iMac.
All right, so I've got about 5
Herbie
accounts
iMac.
there. It doesn't really matter where I go in the table, but what I want to do, if I just VO right,
Account information selected tab.
I have 3 tabs and I can customize options related to this account, but I want to go to the end to new accounts. I'm going to VO end,
Help button.
VO left,
Spacer but remove account but new account button.
VO space on new.
In dialog, new account types table. Choose a mail account provider.
And we need to interact in this table. As I said, I'm going to add 2 accounts. One will just be a Gmail account, just a kind of throwaway demo account I created, and another will be my Comcast account. And so
In new
let's
account types,
interact. I'm going to go down to Gmail
Exchange radio but Google radio button.
or Google, VO space,
Selected.
and then enter to activate the continue button.
New account button. Safari is launched in the background.
And so basically what happens when you add accounts such as Gmail or Yahoo, they want you to enter your credentials online. And so it takes us to a private browsing session in Safari.
Remove account button. New account button. Send large attach
Oh.
recent. Herbert Allen Herbie available online.
Okay, well,
Help
it
button.
didn't quite
Spacer but remove new account button.
do that. Let me try this
In
again.
dialog, new
Okay,
account help button. New account types in new
it was
exchange
working
radio Google
perfectly
radio
this
button.
morning.
Selected.
So there we go. We've selected
Out of
Google.
new help button. Cancel. Continue button. Default.
VO space on continue.
Sign in. Google accounts. Touch ID to autofill with ibug.macandtalk@gmail.com.
This was just an
To open
account
the
I
autofill
created, like I
menu, press
said.
the upper.
And yeah, so basically we can use the Touch ID here to work with the iCloud keychain.
Touch ID to autofill with ibug.macandtalk@gmail.com.
And what happens is it automatically
auto-
filled in the username and took me to the next screen. So if I VO left,
ibug. Heading level 1. Hi Chanel. Ibug. Touch ID to autofill with ibug. Enter your password. Secure edit text.
and
Show
so
password.
it
Unchecked.
wants the
Checkbox.
password. And so we'll go ahead and fill that in.
Enter your password. Secure edit 23.
There we go.
Mail. Accounts. Window. Dialog has keyboard focus.
All right. And so you would have, if you didn't have your iCloud keychain set up and passwords in Safari, you would have just entered your username, pressed enter, and it would take you to the next screen for your password. I can't remember. I think Yahoo's layout is pretty similar. So now what it does is once we filled in our credentials in Safari, it takes us back into the Mail app to choose which services to use with this account. So if I VO left,
Google image. Select the apps you want to use with this account.
and then I VO right
Table.
into the table, and I can
In table.
interact. Let's see.
Contacts. Unchecked checkbox. Calendars. Unchecked checkbox.
Let's
Notes,
say I want
unchecked
to
checkbox.
use notes, so I could just check notes.
Calendars. Unchecked check.
Calendars, I could check
Checked.
that if I wanted, whatever. And we're done. So all I need to do is press enter.
New account button.
And we're back at the new account. If I go to my table
Toolbar. Internet accounts table. Herbie IMAP.
and
Herbie
we'll
Shin
see it.
Ibug. 98 point ibug.macandtalk.
And later on, I'll show you how to put in an account description, but I'm going to find the new again to add my Comcast account.
Help button. Spacer. Remove new account button.
So I'm going to VO space.
In dialog, new account types table. Choose a mail account provider.
And this time we're going to look for other. The important thing with the other is even if your account isn't listed, I've also been able to get this to work when we had AT&T and whatever. There are a few accounts where you can still input your email address and the Mac will be able to put in the correct server information to set it up.
iCloud Rate Exchange Google Rate Yahoo AOL Radio button. Yahoo
I have
radio,
set up Exchange on here. That's also fairly easy.
AOL Radio button. Other mail account. Other account radio button.
So we'll go to other.
Help button. New account types table. Other mail account. Other account
Oops.
radio button.
Okay,
New
here
account
we go.
types table. Other mail account. Other account radio button. So other mail account, other account selected radio button.
There we go.
Row 6.
And now I will press enter.
Email address, name at example.com. Edit text.
Okay, so here rather than going into Safari, we're just entering info directly into the Mail app. So I'll type in the email.
CHM, period. CHM Allen at Comcast, period. Comcast N. Password required. Secure edit text.
Okay, and I'll type in. This one I don't have
CHM
saved.
dot Allen at Comcast.net.
I was just, verifying I typed in the correct email address there. And so then you have the password.
15 characters. Pat cancel. Sign in button default.
VO space. Could have also just pressed enter. Okay, and as with the other account, we are taken to choose which apps to use.
Select the apps you want to use with this account. Table.
And I'll...
Mail. Checkbox. Notes. Checkbox.
All right, maybe I don't want to use notes, so I can uncheck notes. And
Cancel
then
button.
I can
Back button. Done button default.
go to done.
New account button.
And there we go. So now we can configure a few options for these accounts. We can go to the table.
Toolbar. Internet accounts table. Ibug.macandtalk at gmail.com IMAP.
And it just left us at where we were before. So
Account
if I
information selected tab
feel
1
right,
3.
first we have account information. So you can choose the name, the email address, things like that.
Mailbox behaviors tab 2 of 3.
Mailbox behaviors, basically where certain mailboxes are stored, like trash, archive, drafts, sent. They can either be stored on the server or on your Mac.
Server settings tab 3
And
of
then
3.
server settings is something you would mess with only if for some reason sending and receiving mail is not working and you're directed to fiddle with those settings by tech support. That usually contains the SMTP and IMAP ports. I'm blanking. But anyway, you would enter certain ports, numbers, and so forth. So
Mailbox
let's
server enable this account checked checkbox.
go to, you can enable an account or disable it rather than completely removing it.
Status. Online. Available image ibug.macandtalk at gmail.com. Content
And so
selected
I'm just going to
description.
write in here and call this
Selection
demo.
replaced. Cap
I'm
demo.
going to VO write.
Chanel Allen ibug.macandtalk at gmail.com. Email
I
address
never actually
pop-up button.
used this account, but if I wanted to
Menu check.
choose a different email address, I could.
Edit email addresses.
So we could edit email addresses sometimes in the account that I share with Herbie. I don't want it saying Herbie Allen on the messages that I send out. So I will actually input my name. And if you bring up this
In dialog table.
you can edit these email
button.
addresses. So if I wanted to
Can
add,
edit
for
text,
instance,
blank. Email address column 2 row 2 cell.
so email address is column 2.
column 2 row 2
And
empty
so I
cell.
would, just put in the email address and
Column 2 full name column 1 row
the
2
full
cell.
name is column 1. So I would just type in Chanel.
Channel space
No.
cap C
Chanel
Chanel.
Allen.
Email address column 2 row 2 cell. Ellen
And I could type in Chanel
Chanel at
me.
period
com.
M.
Anyway, this thing is
Full
not
name
quite.
email address column 2 row 2 cell.
Okay, so there you get the
Chanel
idea.
Allen ibug.macandtalk
And
at
so you can essentially add an
Gmail.
email address there if you want.
recent download attachments pop-up button.
You can set where attachments are saved to or downloaded to by default.
Send large attachments with mail drop unchecked. Check.
Mail drop is a service basically that rather than sending a large file, it will create a link to that file. I would just find it easier if you're going to do that. Just share somebody the iCloud link or Dropbox link or whatever.
New account button.
And there we go. And so that is for customizing the account information. So let's say we want to remove this account.
Remove account button.
Here is what happens when we attempt to do that.
In dialog alert cancel button. Internet accounts button. You can remove the Google account ibug.macandtalk at gmail.com is shared using iCloud keychain.
and it will give you that message no matter what account, whether it's Google, iCloud, Comcast. Well, we added a Comcast account, but
You
anyway.
can remove this account. Internet accounts button default.
And so it'll take us to the internet
Remove
accounts
account.
in
System preference. Search
System
text field.
Preferences.
Blank.
And so it puts me in the search area for some reason, so I'll
Out of toolbar.
uninteract.
Internet accounts.
And then I will.
Internet accounts sets up your internet accounts table. Demo mail.
I am in the internet accounts table. It has focus on the one we want to remove. So if we VO end
Delete the selected account
and
button.
then VO space,
In dialog, remove from all button. Do you want to remove a
And-
Gmail account ibug.macandtalk@gmail.com from all your computers using iCloud Keychain, or turn it off on only this Mac? Removing
So
from
you
all
can-
computers using iCloud Keychain will remove it from this Mac, Chanel's MacBook Pro, Chanel's MacBook Pro 2, and more.
all right, well, whatever. So let's just
Turn off
remove
from all button. Delete the selected account button.
And there we go. And we can do the same thing with the Comcast, except I don't really
Toolbar.
need to do that. So there you go. That is adding and removing accounts. It's much easier than the demo might otherwise lead you to believe. And there we have it. I'm going to now get out of System Preferences.
Mail account.
So we can finish talking about mail preferences. And just as a note, Donna asked me about saving attachments. You do not need to use the mail filter that I had
Window. Remove account.
demonstrated last week. I had just used that to find a message with an attachment. But chances are, if you're going through your inbox, you already know where your attachments are, and you don't need to use a filter to find them. So there we go. Let's go into the toolbar.
In toolbar, 10 items, accounts button selected.
And
General button.
we'll start with general if I VO space.
General selected.
And then
Out of
interact.
toolbar, mail app, default email reader, pop-up button.
You can choose a different email reader if you by chance prefer Outlook, which I have always found to be a cumbersome app, but if you have to use it for work, whatever, you could set that to be your default.
Automatically. Check for new messages, pop-up button. Menu
Your
check
other
mark automatically.
options are
Every minute,
every minute,
every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, every hour. Manually. Check mark
or
automatically.
you can manually, and to check for messages, it's Command Shift N. I don't expect you to remember that, but it's one of those things you can find by visiting the menu bar.
Automatically. New messages sound. New messages sound, pop-up button.
You can choose a sound
Menu check mark,
for
new messages sound.
unread messages or new messages.
Boop.
Yeah, I'm sorry, when new messages come
Check
in.
mark,
So
new messages sound.
if you choose a sound in here, it will play that.
Boop. Breeze. Breeze. New messages
I
sound,
pressed
pop-up.
enter, and so it played that sound. And I'll just leave it there for now, but you could go through and literally play each one of these. if
Play
you
sounds for
wanted.
other mail actions. Checked. Checkbox.
Play sounds for other
Select
mail
to play sound.
actions. For example, the send message sound that sounds like sending a message on your iOS device.
Inbox only. Duck unread count. Pop-up button.
Doc unread count. In your doc, it can show you how many messages are unread. If you are using the keyboard commander and you have not changed any of the default options that are available, right option U will announce your unread message count. But if you're in the doc or in a few other places, you can have Mail show you
Inbox only. Duck unread count. Pop-up button.
how many are unread.
Menu check mark. Inbox only.
Unfortunately, you can't turn it all the way off,
All mailboxes.
but you can have it shown for inbox, all mailboxes.
Check mark.
or
Inbox
today.
only. Inbox only. New message notifications. Pop-up button.
You can receive new message notifications and mail notifications. I generally turn those off.
Downloads. Downloads folder. Pop-up button.
Again, so you could set a default downloads folder for each new account, but I think you can also set one in general for where you want your downloads to be.
After message is deleted. Remove unedited downloads. Pop-up button. Archive or delete muted messages unchecked. Automatically try sending later if outgoing server is unavailable. Checked. Checkbox.
I like to have that checked.
For opening messages in split view when in full screen, unchecked when searching all mailboxes, include results from.
Last week, I talked about searching all mailboxes, and so there are a few other things you can have it search, and some of those you specify here.
Trash checked, checkbox, junk checked, check encrypted messages checked, help button.
All right, so there we go. That's general.
Toolbar. In Toolbar, 10 items, general accounts, but junk mail button.
Okay, junk mail. If we wheel
Junk mail
space,
out of tool.
I rely on Gmail's junk filtering and my Comcast account. I don't really look at that enough to.
Bar.
It probably has its own junk filtering, but anyway, you can turn on junk mail filtering in Mail.
Junk mail behaviors selected tab 1 of 2. Blocked tab 2 of 2.
So you can specify behaviors, or you can add addresses that you want to be blocked or that would automatically go into junk.
Enable junk mail filtering unchecked checkbox.
So mine is not
When
enabled.
junk mail arrives,
but
mark as junk mail, but leave it in my inbox. Dim selected radio button.
And if I had actually turned on the filtering, we could choose some of these options. So
move it to the junk mailbox. Perform custom action. The following types of messages are exempt from junk mail filtering.
So anyway, you can just
Toolbar.
customize what happens to junk mail.
Junk mail toolbar in fonts and colors button.
Fonts and colors, that's for like the message fonts that you receive. I think that may also control when you compose messages as well, but I don't really do a whole lot with that.
Viewing button.
You have
Viewing
viewing, and this used to be much
Out of
more
tool.
important in Mac Mail. There used to be this thing called Classic View and a few other things, but in general, just here's what's available.
5 lines. List preview pop-up button.
All right, and Cliff has informed me that you can actually change your list preview now in Monterey, and that will be honored. And so I don't mind having it read 5 lines because it gives me an idea of the message before. I don't want it to read everything, but I want to get a good idea of whether I want to actually bother pressing enter on a message to go through and read the rest of it. So I figure with 5 lines, I can hear as little or as much as I like.
Menu check mark.
But your choices in here are
None.
none,
1 line. 2 lines. 3 lines. 4 lines. Check mark. 5
and
lines.
all the way up to 5 lines.
5
So
lines.
there we go.
Archive. Move discarded messages into pop-up button.
I have mine moved into archive, although I think Gmail just automatically does that anyway. So the default option here is actually
Menu
trash.
check mark. Trash. Check
Yeah.
mark. Archive. Default. Show message headers. Pop-up button. Display unread messages with bold font. Unchecked. Checkbox. Use smart addresses. Unchecked. Checkbox. Turn this off to always display names and addresses.
Kind of like they use smart addresses in Safari, so I leave this off, and that way it displays the full
Use
name
dark backgrounds for messages.
and
Checked. Checkbox.
address.
View
That is-
conversations. Highlight messages with color when not grouped. Unchecked. Dim gray. Use the view menu to group messages by conversation.
Okay, so a lot of these are just
Include
don't
related messages. Checked. Checkbox.
really apply to us.
Mark all messages as read when opening a conversation. Checked. Checkbox.
So when you open a conversation, you can have all the messages marked as read, or as you go to each message and read it, it could be marked as read. That's my understanding of how that works.
Show most recent message at the top. Unchecked. Checkbox.
And in threads, again, if you'd rather have the most recent message at the top of the thread, you would want to check this box.
Help button.
Okay, that is viewing.
Toolbar. In toolbar. Composing button.
And here we have
Composing select out of toolbar. Composing. Rich text. Message format. Pop-up button.
I just leave this at rich text. You can use rich text or plain text.
As I type. Check spelling. Pop-up button.
Okay, I actually
Menu
do
check
like to change this to
When I click send.
when I click send.
When I click send. Check spelling. Pop-up button.
It makes it a little bit more Outlook-like, but at least it, reminds me, okay, yeah, I should go through my spelling before I send the message. So
Automatically unchecked. Checkbox. CC. Pop-up button. Myself. Addressing. When sending to a group, show all member addresses. Checked. Checkbox.
okay, it used to be when you unchecked this box, and let's say you had a group name, it would just show the group name. This isn't like for groups IO. This is if you have Oh, let's say we actually had a group for this class, Ibug Mac Training. And rather than having a group SIO, we just had this, whatever, 15 addresses that were all part of the group. And if I wanted to send to you, I would put in the group. Well,
Addressing.
with this
When sending to a group, show all member
option
addresses. Checked.
checked, it would show all of the addresses, but with it unchecked, theoretically, it would just show the group name. Well, that hasn't been working so well the last couple versions of Mac OS, unfortunately. So the best way, if you want to keep addresses anonymous, if you have a large group of 20, 30 people or 10 people, whatever,
Box.
and you don't want them to see the email addresses of everyone else, you will want to put their names in the BCC field. And that's the best way to hide recipients.
Mark it when sending to a group. Show
But
all
I'll
member
just go
addresses.
ahead
Checked.
and
Checkbox.
uncheck this
Unchecked.
box for what little good it will do. None, but anyway.
Mark addresses not ending with unchecked. Domain addicts automatically select best account. Send new messages
All
from
right.
pop-up button.
This setting drives me crazy. I don't know why I actually normally have it on my preferred account. Sometimes I've sent messages before and it has not chosen or automatically selected the best account.
Menu
So
check
the majority of my emails I send from my chanelm.allen, so I am going to fix that now.
Chanel Allen Janellum. Herbie Allen CHM.
Wait,
Chanel Allen
let's
Janellum.
see.
Allen at gmail.com.
There we go.
Chanel Allen Janellum.
That's the address I prefer sending from.
Responding. Use the same message format as the original message. Checked. Respond using rich or plain text. Quote the text of the original message. Checked. Increase quote level. Checked. When quoting text in replies or forwards, include all of the original message text. Radio button. Include selected text, if any. Otherwise, include all text. Selected.
All right,
help
so that just
help
affects
button.
replies.
Toolbar.
Okay, so
In toolbar. Signatures button.
signatures.
Signatures
I
select.
don't do a whole lot with those, but I can just
Out
show
of
you how
toolbar.
to
Signatures
add a
table.
basic
Vertical
signature.
split. Signatures table. Row 1 of 8. All signatures selected.
Okay, what you have in this table, the first category, all signatures, but if you
iCloud.
down arrow,
Chanel. Herbie Chanel.
you have your individual accounts listed. If you create something in all signatures, it used to be that you would have to then drag it to the account that you wanted it to apply to. So I have just, if I want a signature for a particular account, I will just create it in that account. And then, maybe I have to recreate it for the other accounts, but that's not too big of a
Chanel.
deal.
iCloud. Chanel.
So
Vertical splitter. Names empty. Table.
I don't have any in here now, so I'm going to
Vertical splitter. Text. Add button.
VO right several times over to add and VO space.
Signature number 7. Content selected. Edit text.
Okay, that's the signature name. I'll just, I don't
Selection
know, type in
replaced.
ibug and
Out of names table.
VO right.
Vertical splitter. Chanel Allen Janellum. Allen at gmail.com. Edit. Chanel
This
Allen.
is the text. If I actually wanted something substantial, or if I wanted specific formatting, I might write it up in text edit or pages and then paste it in here.
Chanel Allen.
So I could, right after my name, I could go to the end of the line
Allen.
and then press return.
line.
And then type ibug,
Ibug.
Mac, instructor.
Instructor.
There we go. So we're done.
Ibug Mac instructor. Janellum. Ibug
Oh,
Mac instructor.
okay. So I need to uninteract.
Out of. Chanel
And
Allen.
then-
Ibug Mac instructor. Add button.
We could add another signature.
Remove button. Always match my default message font. Checked. Checkbox.
Always match my default message font. Well, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want my name to be in bold letters. Why? I don't know. So you would uncheck that box, and then any changes you would make in Word, well, not Word, Pages, whatever. If you create the signature in a specific font and format there and paste it over, those changes would be carried over. So anyway,
Remove
I don't
button.
really want to keep the signatures. I'm going to remove
Add
it,
button.
and I
Text.
did.
Verticals names empty table.
Yeah.
Add
All
button.
right.
Remove button. Always match my default message font. Dimmed unchecked. Checkbox.
And let's go back up to the toolbar.
Toolbar.
Interact.
In toolbar. 10 items, signatures button, rules button.
Rules. I rely heavily on Gmail's filtering. I don't use rules, but basically those are things like if a message is from a certain person or to a specific person. I have lots of filters on Gmail set up for all of the email lists that I belong to, or I had quite a few filters. Sometimes I add them or delete them, whatever I need. But the nice thing with creating and using the filters directly on the Gmail website is that they apply no matter where I check my email. If I check it here on the Mac or if I check it on my iPhone, the same rules that I've created on the website will apply to no matter where, as opposed to if I just create rules here in the Mail app on my Mac, that will only apply when I check messages on my Mac. So I want something more universal and
Out of
therefore
toolbar.
don't use rules. Actually, there's a
toolbar.
few more things to go through in the toolbar.
Rules button, extensions button.
Extensions, I've never found a need for or don't really know what extensions would be used with Mail.
Privacy button. Privacy
As
select.
of Monterey and iOS 15, we have these new
Out of tool-
privacy features. Like I said, they're also available on iOS 15.
Mail privacy protection.
But specifically for Mail,
Protect mail activity checked checkbox.
you can protect your Mail activity.
Text. Mail privacy protection works by hiding your IP address and loading remote content privately in the background, even when you don't open the message. This makes it harder for senders to follow your mail activity. Link. Learn more.
And there we go. I think it's checked by default, but if it isn't, then you can do that.
Hide IP address dim checked checkbox.
And it automatically hides your IP address. That's why it's dimmed.
Block all remote content dimmed unchecked checkbox. Help button. Help button.
And there we go. Remote content is pictures or other things in messages that come from external
Toolbar.
sources. I don't know. But anyway,
Into privacy button.
we
select
are
out of
done
toolbar.
there with all of the preferences. And so I'm going to press Command W.
Close. Inbox. Chanel 170 messages. 5 unread
And
window.
now I want to show you something real quick, which is previous recipients. The way we get to that is going
Menu bar.
into the window
Mail
menu.
file edit view mailbox message format window minimize command zoom move replace tab show previous tab show next tab move tab to merge all message viewer photo browser previous recipients.
So I'll press enter.
Previous recipients search window search text field blank.
And this is a way
Search.
basically for you to find the people you have emailed recently or not so recently, whatever, and then add them to contacts
Previous
if you wish. But there's a way you can also directly copy the address.
In
So let's
previous
say,
name column 1 in contacts dimmed image.
so interacting in the table lets me know that, which ones are in contacts and which ones aren't.
In contacts dimmed blank.
So this one is not. If I
Name Lupita
feel right.
Hernandez. Email ANML name Lupita her email last used 3/20/20. Email
All right,
name
so
Lupita
let's
Hernandez Apple
say-
support.
Okay.
Column 1 in contacts dimmed image.
Well, I guess that's in
Name
contacts. I
Apple
don't
support.
know.
Email
Yeah.
Apple support at email.
All right. I don't know if that's a genuine email, but let's say you wanted to actually copy this email address. You could do VO Shift C. That is to copy the last phrase that was spoken. Oops. So let me.
Name app email Apple support at last phrase copied to the clipboard.
I know I cut voiceover off, but it should still speak there. The other thing you can do is get out of this
Out of
table
previous recipients table.
and VO Right.
Remove from list button. Add to contacts button dimmed.
Okay, I guess that one's already in contacts. But if it wasn't, you could add the email address to your contacts. So let's say you wanted to compose a new message. I could do that from here, Command N.
New message window 2.
And I could do Command V.
Email apple.com.
All right.
Toolbar. Email Apple support at email.apple.com.
Right. I'm sure
Insertion at end
that's
of-
not quite a. I don't know where sometimes the Mail app gets these things, but
Text
anyway, you
to
get the idea.
Edit text.
So you could just copy the email address with VO-Shift-C and then paste Command N and Command V. I don't actually want to send this, so I'm going to Command W.
Close. In dialog, alert, don't save button.
I don't
Save
want to
this message as a
save,
draft.
so
Don't save button.
VO
Remove from list
space.
button.
And then we'll close this previous recipients
Close.
window.
Inbox, Chanel 107.
And there we go. And
Safari,
so I will
Safari.
now take any questions over that, anything else we've covered in this class, or if there's any other Mac apps, messages, calendar,
Zoom
whatever, anything that
Checked.
you have questions
You
about.
are sharing computers 1945.
We still have half an hour. And if there are no questions, then we'll just end early. Oh, I'll stop my sharing.
Chanel,
Yes. Hi, Michelle.
hi. I'm sorry I was late, but I did
That's
get
okay.
here. I have a SBC Global account
Uh-huh.
and a Gmail account, and I'm working to have it be that I just use the Gmail. My SBC is set up such that all the emails in it get forwarded to my Gmail account.
Okay.
So I did on my phone, I did delete the SBC Global account and didn't have any problem. But should I be able to just follow your instructions to delete the SBC one and it be okay?
Yeah, if so the SBC is on your Mac.
Yes, and the Gmail.
Yeah, so all you'd have to do, like I said, is go into your system preferences, and then you could go to internet accounts, or you
Okay.
could find it, or you, or you could still, like I did, go into mail and then go
Right.
into mail preferences and then accounts. But if you go into system preferences and internet accounts, that's just a bit more of a direct way of getting there.
Okay. All right. Well, for some reason I remember when I first had both accounts on my phone, it was like one of them was the primary account or what, it didn't say primary, but it was, I didn't know if it mattered that the SBC was the first one on the to begin with on the Mac.
No, it shouldn't. And then if you deleted it from your phone, it should have also given you the option to, remove it everywhere else as well.
Yeah. I don't remember that it did, but I might not have
Okay.
kept looking. But okay, but that's a big thing that I want to do. So I appreciate your help on that.
Definitely. Great. Okay, so are there any other questions?
This is Herbie.
Yeah.
Okay, so something important that I wanted to mention that goes back to our last thing, as I found this out the hard way. Command Shift M. So it actually does show or hide the mailbox, but the problem mailbox list. The problem is that Voiceover does not tell you that. No matter what you do, it says show mailbox list. So
Yeah, because I
if you
think. Oh, I'm sorry.
so if you use Command Shift M, you're kind of it won't tell you that it's hidden or not, so you'll have to look and find out if you need to re-show it again. So
Yeah,
the
I think the
mailbox
more
list.
direct way in Monterey, the command to use for the mailboxes sidebar is Command Control S. Like mine right here says hide sidebar. And so if I was to do that, my message or my mailboxes list would disappear. But if I
Yep.
do Command Control S again to show the sidebar, there I have my mailboxes table back.
Yep.
So
And Doc, you had your hand raised, but we don't do raised hands here. If you are not able to unmute, try logging out and logging back in. A couple people have had to do that earlier today, so you're not the only
Yes.
one. So
Hello,
Yes.
this is Ibir.
Hi, Ibier.
Okay, so please, I wanted to ask, when I added my email, it was showing me like it added as what it read as was Yahoo email. That's what is reading out, Google email. It doesn't give me, it didn't, I didn't have it like my address showing. So how do I get it to show my address rather than the name of the email?
Oh, so I was demonstrating how you can, in the or the accounts table, in the account information, you could enter a name for the account, and then I also mentioned adding your name or like if you it should be already set to use, your the name and whatever. I was just mentioning if you wanted to add a different name for the same email address. Or were you just wanting me to go over it again, or what what was
Yeah, if you could go over it again, please. Thanks.
okay? Um, where exactly were you getting confused? Have you added an email account to your Mac?
Yeah, okay. Like I got someone to help me add it. I didn't know how to do it myself. But what the email reads is Yahoo email, Google email. It doesn't read my like read at gmail.com. That was
Oh,
what
it
I would
doesn't
have
read
wanted
that.
to. Yeah, it doesn't say iberi at gmail.com. If I'm going through the list of my emails on the email box, or what do you call it? Like the list of where the box in different emails are. If I'm going to the Exchange, Google email,
Mm-hmm.
Yahoo email, it doesn't give me the name of the address. So I didn't know what I would do to change it back to maybe having my address showing rather than just Google email or Yahoo email.
Oh, I wonder.
Well, this is Daryl.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the, when you say the smart email, doesn't that turn off?
Oh, the smart addresses.
I
That
think when
could.
you do, I think when you do smart, it just uses your name. It doesn't include the email address. I think I'm just kind of remembering that from way back. You went through that
Yeah.
real quick, but I'm not quite sure if that's what she's talking about. It's just showing her name. It's not saying name at yahoo.com.
Oh, right. Okay, so I yeah. Um
She might want to check and see if that's checked, that it says smart email or smart whatever it is. That should
yeah,
be unchecked.
it's in composing. Um in the mail preferences, in that toolbar there's a category that we went through called composing. I think, where was that in? Let me look. Or was it in general? Let's see.
you're not sharing this
Yeah, I
screen.
know. I'm trying to
Okay, just
look.
want to make sure.
Um, or was it composing? Let's see.
And
Okay.
smart addresses I saw, I think, is actually in view.
Okay. Oh, in viewing. Okay, you're
Yes.
um all right. So it's in viewing. Um All right, so I can, let's see, I can reshare again. Let's see. All right.
You have started compute.
All right, so I have
Mail.
viewing open.
Mail. Viewing 5 lines. Lit
Let's
toolbar.
see.
5 line. Archive. Move to default. Show message headers. Display unread messages. Use smart addresses. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Okay, use smart addresses. So you would want that unchecked.
Turn this off to always display names and addresses.
And then I think though what you
Toolbar.
may have been talking
In
about
tool fonts and colors
is
button.
in
Junk accounts button. Accounts
accounts
out of tool internet accounts
where,
table. Chanel IMAP. Selected.
oh, okay. So mine, I think, so right here in this table, it says Chanel IMAP. That is actually just, oh, okay. I think yours is saying like Gmail or Yahoo. It's not actually letting you choose the account name, maybe.
Account information.
So
Selected
you
tab.
have the account information.
Mailbox behavior. Servers enable this account. Check status. Online. Available. Chanel. Content selected. Description. Edit text.
So it may in there in that description area, it might say like Gmail or Yahoo. And so then you would type in your name or whatever.
Chanel Allen Janellum dot Allen
But
at
in
gmail.com. Email address. Pop up button.
there's an email address where you can choose the email address that your messages are sent from, or that display, or not sent from, but that displays.
Menu check. Edit email addresses. Ellipsis. Check mark. Chanel Allen Janellum dot
So mine is my Chanel Allen, but I could edit. What I
email
was showing you earlier was how I could edit the email address to make it my name. Let's say if I was sharing an email address with someone or whatever. So
addresses. Ellipsis.
hopefully
Chanel
that
Allen.
makes a little bit of sense. But I think maybe what you're thinking of is in that table, your accounts are not, or just saying Gmail or Yahoo. They're not actually saying your name. And so maybe
Chanel. Available online. Status.
that's what's
Zoom us.
confusing you. I don't
Zoom
know.
us.
And if I thoroughly confused you even more, Ibir, you can try, just let me know, and maybe somebody else can help out, or you can think about it and then come to Mac and Talk next week and ask more questions or whatever works best for you.
Well, here's Doc.
Oh, hi, Doc.
Finally got in.
Yay.
I forgot about that. Getting rid of that got it button.
Oh,
That's what
that
kept
thing,
giving me
yes.
that error message claiming that.
System dialog. You are sharing computer
Oops,
sound.
let me stop the share. There we
Okay.
go.
In the signature section, and
Yes.
the one thing I wanted just to note, and this is more of an old etiquette thing, because many people sometimes will use a signature as more informational, and in that case, it's good to either put a demarcation, whether it's underlining going across or stars going across, to separate your main part of your text from your signature,
Right.
so that they know that the reader knows that this is other information.
Very good point. Yes.
This is Herbie.
Uh-huh.
So no, the one thing I also did want to confirm is the mail privacy options are not checked by default.
Okay. Well, I just went in there and checked them, so. Alrighty. Okay, anyone else?
This is Donna.
Yeah, Donna.
So I have a question about text edit.
Sure.
So I guess in Pages there is a specific or our specific envelope templates. So if you type a letter in text edit, like in Microsoft Word, I can create an envelope right there and print it. Can I do that in text edit?
I don't know
This is Herbie.
Yeah, go ahead, Herbie.
I've never seen templates for text edit. That would just be for pages.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's a bummer. Thank you.
There is something called stationary pad or whatever that so if you create a file in text edit or any other app, you can kind of use it as a I'm not quite sure how it works, but your safest thing might just be to use Pages or Word.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else?
Yep. This is Doc again.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of text edit, I meant to ask this last week or week before. I looked around, but I couldn't check. Was there any way to set the length of a tab?
Oh, like tab stops.
Yeah. So like if you just needed just that first one to be, say, 5 spaces, just to demark that as something new coming up.
Well, sometimes people use the ruler, and I'd have to look if, because yeah, I know what you mean, like where you can set whether the press of a tab key is like, 0.5 inches or
Yeah.
0.25 or whatever, and I normally never mess with that stuff. If I go to text edit and let's see if I try to format. Yeah, I've never seen anything like. I'd have to look. I've never seen, but you. Yeah, I don't know right off the top of my head. Is your short answer?
No problem.
So
This is Shri.
yeah, Shri.
I was just gonna say, I think when I could see, I don't think I've ever used a roller.
Right. He was talking about like tab stops or if
Yeah, it's like just doing an indent.
yeah, well you
Oh,
can
creating rules.
I mean, so you want to know how many inches over, or you want to define how many inches over is like one tab, or if, or creating, yeah, I
Isn't a
don't know.
tab like 5 letters?
Yeah, I thought in certain programs you could set whether, one tab is equivalent to like,
Yeah.
half an inch or a quarter of an inch or whatever.
Yeah, Word could do that, but
Right.
I was curious because when you tab in text edit, it will say tab and it'll leave that there as a demarcation so that you know that that's where your cursor would be at. But I don't know if it gives an idea of how far or if it has even moved at all.
So there are ways to, yeah, like in JAWS, you can do, for instance, Alt Delete to hear over how far over your cursor is. In on the Mac, you can do like VO Command F3. Let's see, a few times, or VO F3. Let's see if we interact. Or VO Command F3. Let's see. So I pressed the tab key a couple times and it says 0.52 inches right, 0.92 inches down from top left corner of something, and I did VO command F3. You have to press that a few times. If I type like VO F5 or VO command let's see. Or, if I just do VO F5 a few times, it says 1.3 inches left. Or it gives you different positions from the top left corner of the window versus the screen. It's not quite as direct as, what one might be accustomed to. But if you just say, if you are in Pages or whatever, and you want your paragraphs always to be indented half of an inch, you could do that. Or even in text edit, you could use the ruler and say that your first line is indented. I never really used tabs. I would just set the indentation for the first line of my paragraph using the menus. So yeah, I know that's not the direct answer to your question, but
Actually, that gives me close enough.
all right.
All right, thank you.
All
Michelle,
right.
this is Shri.
Yeah, Shri.
When you were doing this exercise, you mentioned about the Exchange server. Is there a way to use that mail account if you don't have an Exchange server account?
Yeah, well, one time I actually did set up Herbie's UHD account, which did use Exchange on my Mac. So you just enter in your whatever email at Outlook, or you just enter in your credentials, and we've had some problems with that email because they've changed things. But yeah, I was able to.
So, yep, this is Herbie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Exchange still works on Mac Mail. Now, on the iPhone, that's a different matter altogether, but
Okay.
like, I don't know if it was just my university. I think it's or maybe so. Microsoft's done some weird changes, but like, so Mac Mail, you should have no problems with an Exchange server. I can still access my university email, for instance, though I have to authenticate the password like once every 30 days. So that's really super annoying. And how that's going to work, by the way, is you'll get a notification in the center saying update your Exchange password, and then you'll have to double tap on that and do that. At least that's what I have to do. But the phone stopped supporting Exchange email late last year, and for that you have to use the Outlook app. So,
Alrighty. Okay, well, are there any other questions?
And this is Shri.
Yes.
Sorry, I came in like a couple minutes late when you first started. Are we meeting? What were you saying about? I kind of came in the tail end about our meeting schedule.
Yeah, so this is our last formal class. Technically, Mac and Talk is the last, this is our last lesson, but Mac and Talk is the last class session. So, I mean, that being said, if you don't make Mac and Talk, it'll be the last session of the class. So that can't be counted against you, but it is technically included. So we'd love to have you, whether it is or not.
if you
And
guys want more class sessions, I'd be happy to teach messages, music, one or two other apps that.
Yes, yes.
Well,
All right, well,
I just want to say you did a
control
great job.
thank you.
I thought I knew the Mac a little bit, but I definitely didn't know all these shortcuts that you guys are jamming with these shortcuts. It's like my brain is going like How do you
I know.
remember all of these things? And
Oh, well,
I'm just doing VO right arrow. I'm like a snail, but
that's okay. It's whatever you can use to get the job done. The main thing is to be comfortable with your methods and know why you're doing what you're doing, why you're doing it. And so, if some of my things help you, great. If you need to use some of what you have used formerly, that's great too. Combine the techniques, whatever works for you to be more proficient with the Mac. That is our end goal.
I
You
think
did a
I think
great job. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I'm just saying, efficiency is the key here, right? Because I think that's what you told us is how efficient we can be if you learn some of these tidbits. So
Definitely.
thank you.
Yep. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chanel, for all that you've taught us or made available to us. You know,
Thank
because
you.
in the
Thank
beginning
you.
you said you wanted to give us the information that we could go back to it and incorporate it. So
Yep.
thank you so much. You
You're
know so
welcome.
much.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you. I've enjoyed it's so nice. I get to know everyone, and then before we know it, the class is over.
Nice.
I know
So
it went by so fast.
it did.
Thanks, Janelle.
Thank
Yep.
you, Chanel.
Thank you. I'll
Can you
send
hear
out
me, Chanel?
what?
Oh, I was just wondering if you guys could hear me because my
Yes, I.
screen it just says mute and end. It doesn't say Zoom, nothing. It's weird.
Uh-oh. Okay. Well,
So you could
thanks
hear
so
me.
much,
Thank you.
Elvia, for making an effort to be here this last couple
Sure.
weeks with everything going on. And
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you
I was
too,
trying to.
Sarah. I saw Sarah
Thanks,
popped in.
Janelle.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
finally, I just wanted to show up for the last class. I felt bad about being missing,
Oh,
missing
well,
in action.
thank you so much. And thanks all of you. I'll send out the recording and
Yeah.
some
Bye.
questions
Thank
that
you
go
to
along
our
with this. Yep.
co-teacher too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for what you do
Chris,
and what you
Doc,
offer
everybody
for
who's
all of us.
contributed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
yes,
This is
yes.
Sibyere. Thanks you. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you so
Thank
much.
Herbie
you.
too.
I've
All
had
right.
my Mac for 4 years and I've not been able to use it. With your lesson, I've been able to start working on it. So I'm very grateful.
Good.
Very
Awesome.
grateful.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry for missing the classes. It's just that it's quite late here. That's why.
Yeah. Well, that's more power to you for coming even at midnight and 1 a.m. your time. My
Yeah.
goodness. All right. Well,
Thank you.
thanks everyone. I'll be sending the recording and some questions along shortly. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Without you, we wouldn't have the class. And I enjoyed getting to know all of you and working with you. And wish you the best. Luck with your Mac learning adventures. So, all right. Bye.
You guys
Thank
are
you.
back.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.